Hey, happy Wednesday. It's Steven Herman with the Vetted Podcast, The Mindset, episode number 3. And hey, interesting today, I want to tie this into news. As a business owner with a growth mindset, I was curious about, how important is it to stay aligned with current events? And I looked at it, both ways. And some of the things I got here are obviously encourages adaptability and critical thinking, expands knowledge and reduces fixed mindset, prepares for the future by embracing change, promotes empathy and perspective taking. So that's a look at, why would you want to, as a business owner in the veterinary space, be informed? Obviously, you're informed on medical needs for the veterinary space, what's happening with diagnostics, what's happening with surgery, what's happening in discoveries for cures and treatments. So, as you do that, and as the business owner side of it, though, we also have to say what's happening out there in the world that can affect the business, so you can better be ready and not caught off guard. Now, hey, why wouldn't you want to stay with current events? And maybe this gives you a more things you shouldn't get sucked into, right? It says, we said growth mindset is more about personal effort than external knowledge. Consuming too much information can lead to overload and stagnation. Some of the most innovative thinkers focused on deep work, not news. And interesting enough, talked about Einstein and Newton. So I don't think any of us are Einstein and Newton out thinking about that. But interesting to look at it. Not all current events are relevant to personal growth. So the pros and the cons. And again, I think the cons are to say, hey, I really believe that we need to stay current, but the thing is not to get too deep into it. So you have to have a way to stay current with the relevant things that you don't dive into. And so really, let's look at this. It depends on how one engages with current events. If staying informed does stimulate learning, critical thinking, and adaptability, that supports that. However, consuming that news leads to overwhelm, passivity, or distraction, then you probably ought to rethink what you're doing. So ultimately, a key factor is to have a plan, right? Where are you going to get your news from? What are you going to choose to do? And anything you do, you schedule appointments with people to come in to see you. You need to schedule the time to stay current with that. Don't dive deep into it. There's quite a few things out there that are really good in the business world that'll help you stay relevant to what's going on. And as we do this, we're going to help you with that. Next few months, we're going to give you the resources on what that'll look like so you can get what you need. So, hey, with that, we're going to take a quick break and get set up to go over a key article that can help you think along these lines about why it's important for a growth mindset to stay updated. This is hot off the press, and what I want to impress upon everyone is that this is not about politics. This is about things that are happening out there that you do need to know about. I'm not here saying, get out there and be political, and I'm saying what you can do in your community, how you find opportunity in the news and what's happening to make it, say it again, opportunity for your business and to provide best medicine. So if you see this article like this, what are you going to do? FDA staff handling drug safety for pets and livestock lost jobs recently. So, you go, well, what am I going to do? Well, the article gets into the fact that pets, livestock, things of that nature aren't going to have maybe the people looking over what's coming out in the industry. You know what to do, though, as a veterinarian, and where the opportunity lies in this is communication with the community, with your social media, with those things to get out there and say, hey, we've seen this out there. We know about it. If you have questions or concerns, come see us and give some talking points around how they can best protect their animals. You're there for that reason, right? So there's opportunity in what you find. As we go through this, though, what it does say is that, hey, it's not done. There's people that may be not there still that are in the workforce remotely as they are asked to come back to work. So we may lose more of these individuals that help with the pet supply of food, the pet supply of medicine, things happening in the pet world, in the livestock world. So I think you have to look at this and go, whether makes you feel bad or good, either way that is, you have to look at the opportunity to be a business leader for your staff and your community. So you can take an article like this and turn it into opportunity. So here's the thing I got to say out there right now. We're going to put the link out there for this article. Let me know what your thoughts are. Challenge me. I want to learn too. What are you seeing out there? I've got a growth mindset. I want to learn, hear perspectives. So anyways, take a look at this article, and I want you to think about how you can deliver that message to your staff and to the community you represent. You did take an oath, right, about serving the animals, and I think this is a great way to promote that. And promoting it is not a bad word. It's a good thing because it'll provide best medicine for the animals in your community. All right. Hey, another break, and we're going to dive into a video correlating on birth rates, interestingly enough. Be right back. It's a YouTube on birth rates. You might go, what are we talking birth rates? Well, population, right? Again, nothing political here, but Peter Zeihan, who is a geopolitical strategist, wrote a book called The Accidental Superpower and another book called The Absent Superpower. I highly recommend them. As a business owner, it'll give you really good information on how we are, where we're at, and where the potential things are going based on population, based on the way economics have rolled out. Again, this is not a political take. It is, it's like a scientific, numerical, quantitative, and qualitative look. I really enjoyed Peter Zeihan's books. I highly recommend them. But what he gets into here is that the birth rate has gone to a certain number. And what does that mean in your business? Let's let him take the talk from here.
And here coming to you from Colorado in between the snows. It is April 25th, and the news... You're not going to get this for like a week, I know, I'm sorry. The news today is that the United States Census has come out with the most recent information on population structure for the United States, and it indicates that our birth rate has dropped to a 40-year low of about 1.6 per woman. 2.1 is generally considered to be replacement level, and if you add in increases in the death rate in the United States from things like COVID, which killed about 3 million people, as well as the rapidly aging and therefore passing baby boomers, and then on top of that, the opiate epidemic, we really need to be closer to 2.3 or 2.4 just to hold the population where it is. The only other way that you can plug that gap was with immigration, and let's just say that that is a topic that is somewhat hot at the moment. What does this mean? Well, in the short term, from a demographic point of view, short term is 20 years. From a short-term point of view, this is actually positive for economic growth, because if you have a lot of people aged roughly 20 to 45, which is where the millennials are right now, and they don't have a lot of kids, then the money that they would spend on schooling and buying a bigger house, they can use for more furnishings and more travel and more restaurants and more high-octane growth that feeds through the system and has a multiplier effect. This is something that we saw in China in the...
Yeah, why am I showing birth rates? Well, what he just said right there about opportunity amongst the millennials, the 20 to 45-year-olds, how they're going to spend money. And really you're looking at 20 to 45-year-olds talking about the next 40 years of that demographic of spending money. Less kids, they're still earning money. And we've seen that. Why have we seen the veterinary population, the pet population pop? We know it. It's right there. It's right there in the numbers. So what are you going to do with that? I think it's an opportunity to go, it's a good time to be a veterinarian. I don't think you need to look out past 20 years of what the industry is going to be at this point. But I think what it can do for you is go, next 20 years, I should be pretty good. I know we've seen in 20, now this came out 9 months ago. Okay, this was back in the spring. Actually, mine will be a year ago now, back in spring of 24. But as he said, in there is that, moving forward, that there's opportunity. And I want to back up though. 2024, we saw, some patient visits declining. I think AVMA is around 3% down on patient visits, yet revenues are up because people are still spending for care for their animals. So anyways, why is it important to stay up to date with what's going on? Because I know there's scared thoughts that get out there at times, and you got to find the data to help you stay positive about the industry you're in. I look for data to help me stay positive. Now, I'm not going to kid myself. If there's real data out there that says something different, we're going to share that. But the growth mindset in me is looking at that going, hey, there's opportunity there to have growth in the veterinary industry. We'll put the link up there. It's a short video. I recommend you watch the rest of it, but I wanted to stop it there to explain the millennial population, the 20 to 45-year-olds are going to drive the economy for the next, 20 to 40 years. It's a long time. So anyways, good stuff there. Let's take a break on this and be right back to wrap up this video. All right. Hey, thanks for checking out that article with me and Peter's video there. So as we say, how can we wrap this up today? Well, I want some recommendations for the business owner with a growth mindset. Number one, curate your news intake. Focus on what drives your business. There's things out there. AHA's got newsletters. AVMA's got newsletters. I think you can start there, looking at those things. The economy-wise, pick some people on YouTube. Maybe it's a Peter Zeihan or someone like that is, apolitical, that they are looking at it from the standpoint of numbers, things of that nature. They're experts in their field, as you're experts as veterinarians in your field. Another thing too is to keep up to date with the. I think it's always good to have a few bits of information on the stock market to understand where the overall economy is driving that way. To get your labor reports, to get your inflation reports, and understand where the Fed's at. We'll post these things. But again, I think one of the key things to do is balance this and use the 80-20 rule. I love the 80-20 rule because 20% of your time can be in information and 80% in applying it, okay? I think that's real important to look at. Set boundaries. How long are you going to do this for? Don't get sucked into the, going down the clickbait areas, the scrolling doom loop areas. Set boundaries, all right? And sometimes, you know what? Maybe you can empower one of your team members to actually do some research for you. Give them the ability to say, see what they're excited about, number one. Don't give them something to be bored about, but something they'd be excited about. They could bring you back a report, summary of what is some key important things out there. So, other thing is too, I think is important. As I started out in this video with the pro for keeping up with current events and the cons of keeping up with current events, you need to do the same thing. Everyone has bias. We all do. I know I do. There's no question about it. But how do you get perspectives from someone different from you to see that are you missing something? That is very important. So, after you've done that, I want to get back to stay focused, future focused instead of reactive. It's so important. Interestingly enough, Kelsey and I were in a conversation today. And Kelsey, hey, I'm happy to have you in here. Kelsey is the official editor-producer of the Better Podcast now. She's going to do a great job. But we were talking about the winter gloom, and I found it in my house yesterday. I've had 5 days at home with my kids, and I have a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 15-year-old. We live close to the University of Missouri, so they're in college. They get to live at home, walk to college, pros and cons. But man, we were tense yesterday. It's because we've been close together, and we started getting a little reactive. And so I had to go, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? So when you start finding yourself reactive, if we've been staying future focused, it'll help you stay out of that, which helps you to have a positive mindset. And at the end of the day, what this will help you do is show your team knowledge, care, and applying that information to show that you have a learning culture. It's leading by example. A learning culture matters to having success in the world, and also I think to find the positive nature in what is going on and what can be, say, future focused. So, final thoughts today. Strategic learning, not passive consumption. That's got to be the theme of it. Strategic learning, not passive consumption. Hey, I hope that you found this insightful today. Maybe it was just something that you already know about. I think it's important to go, yeah, I know these things, Steven, but it's good to hear them again. My grandpa always said there's 3 important rules that you need to have as a leader with your team and yourself. 3 words: train, retrain, and train again. You need to do that with your mind. You need to do that with your staff. That is so important. Hey, challenge me. Go to thebetterpodcast.com. Go to the Better Podcast on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. What would you like to hear us do and say? There's great opportunity in there to have great communication. I want to hear from you. Give us your questions. And I thank you so much for taking your time today to tune in to the Vetted Podcast, the Mindset Edition. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's grow this thing. Let's share the good word and make sure we have a thriving independent veterinary community. Thank you so much.